culture I chose to research was the Venezuelan culture. Venezuela is located at the northern end of South America. Venezuela is bounded by the Caribbean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean. The capital of Venezuela is Caracas, and the population of Venezuela is around 28.41 million as of 2024. Venezuela's government falls under the category of Federal Presidential Republic, and the President of Venezuela is also the head of government and the head of the state. Venezuela has their own kind of currency known as the Venezuelan Bolivar. When comparing the U.S. culture and the Venezuelan culture, some of the main differences were found in individualism. Venezuela has a low individualism rate of 12, and the society is strongly collectivist. They believe group action is more important than independent action, whereas the U.S. values everyone's independence along with their self-expression. According to websites, Venezuela's communication is considered to be high context. The meaning of a message is determined by the nonverbal cues, context, and the relationship between the communicators. Opposed to that, the U.S. has a low context culture as it focuses more on direct and verbal communication. Venezuela has a very strict way of life, which gives a controlled outcome. The uncertainty avoidance rate in Venezuela is around 76, and the strict laws, policies, and regulations show the efforts to minimize the levels of uncertainty. On the other hand, the U.S. has an uncertainty rate of around 46, and the U.S. has fewer rules and regulations, and they don't try to control all outcomes. Venezuela has very common values and norms, being the most common value being above everything, family. This is the main value in Venezuela. People from there are very warm, welcoming, and they are unified by their desire for fairness and equality. America's values differ because we value individualism, freedom, equality, and achievement. The U.S. is extremely diverse, which leads to different values. I feel that culture shock is something common when traveling. A big difference between cultures is how they greet people. People in Venezuela have a welcoming presence, and they greet people often with a kiss on the cheek. This would cause culture shock for me because in the U.S. we settle for a nice handshake. To avoid anxiety and culture shock, you should do research on things like this before traveling to these places. Some unique traditions they have occur mostly around Christmas. These traditions include Christmas roller skating, they prepare Christmas tamales, and they also have Christmas carnivals. Some of the most common communication in Venezuela is nonverbal communication. In America, we use the OK gesture when we are trying to say that something is all well. In Venezuela, it is considered an insult. Another gesture with a different meaning in America and Venezuela is beckoning someone towards you with one finger. It is rude in Venezuela, and they would rather you beckon someone with all of your fingers. The difference in cultures speaks measures about how different cultures affect the people whenever they live there. After conducting this research, I have learned that you need to be cautious when performing everyday actions or even performing sudden movements because you need to be aware of how your actions are perceived. It is important to be educated on these